Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to a reading lesson. Normally, you guys would be just coming in from a recess on these sunny days, so that's kind of funny to think about right now. So we are going to start right off with an example of determining the theme of a text and supporting it with evidence, and today I'm going to give you an example that's actually a poem. So that's kind of exciting, and we're going to see how basically determining the theme of the poem is going to be very similar to determining the theme of any fiction text. But we'll use a couple other things that we may not look at quite as closely, like figurative language and repetition for effect. This poem is called Dreams. It's by a very famous poet named Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes was born in 1902 and died in 1967. He was a poet, an author, and an activist. More specifically, he was a civil rights activist, especially in the 50s and 60s, I believe. He was also an important leader in the Harlem Renaissance, which was an artistic and social movement of Black artists in Harlem, New York, during the 1920s. In this poem, a speaker describes the importance of dreams. As you read, think about or take notes on what the speaker says life would be like without dreams. So that's a little blurb just to get us some context. I want to talk about a few things here, just to give you guys a little bit of bearing when we look at something like this. So firstly, we have these two paragraphs, and in poetry, you might remember that we call these stanzas. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have done a cursive Z for you guys. I know how that goes. All right, stanzas. And then we've also got a couple fun things in here, like these. These are going to be in all different types of texts as you encounter deeper and richer texts, and these are going to be footnotes. And so what you can tell is you see this number that I kind of covered up right here and right here, and those numbers are really telling you to come look at the bottom of the page, and it's going to tell you exactly what they're talking about. Hold fast. Well, hold fast doesn't really make a lot of sense. To hold it quickly? No. It means to hold it tightly. And then when we see down here, we see a 2 next to this word barren, and it comes down here and it just tells us the exact meaning. Barren is an adjective, unable to grow anything or lifeless. So those are some really good reminders for us. One other thing, sorry, you guys can probably hear this tapping. One other thing to point out is these, especially when you are analyzing a text online, sometimes they'll give you these little numbers, and that's literally just telling you what line they are on. Sometimes if it's a longer story instead, they'll do that with each paragraph. But in a poem, it can be especially helpful to know what line. So sometimes you'll see poems that are much longer, and it will just go by fives. It'll be like 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, and you'll see these numbers in the middle of stanzas, wherever that line number is. This one works out very nicely because the 1 and 5 are just the first sentences or phrases of each stanza, but just know some of those things so you can kind of know your way around how some of these things might look sometimes. All right, now that I've blabbed on enough about that, let's dig in. We're going to do a first read of this poem, and our goal is going to be to analyze the writing, kind of think about close reading, and then determine the main topic. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. All right, pretty short and sweet. So you guys probably have a good idea about the topic of this text, but I want to look at a few things first. If we were going to close read this in the classroom, I would ask you guys first things first to look for repetition and to look for figurative language. So if we were doing that in the classroom, I bet a lot of you guys would say right away, putting a little R here for repetition. 2 times we have stanzas that begin with the phrase, hold fast to dreams. That's a pretty big deal right away. And then we have some figurative language. Just highlight that. Life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Well, we know that in reality, life is not just one bird, especially a broken-winged bird. And life is a barren field frozen with snow. We know that life is not just a barren field. There's a lot more to it than that. So these are really just going to show you it's saying life is. It's not saying life is like a broken-winged bird or life is like a barren field. It's saying life is. So these are definitely metaphors. The author here, or the speaker I should say, is comparing life without dreams to broken-winged birds and barren fields by saying that they are those things. So those are some really good ways that we can dig in. Now that we've dug in a little bit, I'd like you to think in your head, what is the main topic of this poem? All right, you are probably ready to tell me your answer. I'm hoping that you are right there with me in thinking that the topic of this poem is probably dreams. The speaker in this poem is definitely focused on dreams right now. That's the big thing they want to talk about, the main topic. Now, the other thing that we can think about here is the moral. Remember, whenever we are hoping to determine the theme of something, we want to start by determining the main topic, and then we can also attempt to determine a moral. Not every single story in the world or poem in the world will have a moral, but it's always good to look just in case, because that moral will just get you one step closer to a theme. So I will read through this poem one more time. I'd like you guys to think about what the moral might be. Think about whether or not the moral is stated in this poem. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. All right, team members. So right away, I would want to highlight hold fast to dreams. Remember that a moral is sometimes a sentence telling you what to do. That's called an imperative sentence or a command sentence. And these phrases right here are definitely commanding us to do something. They're commanding us to hold fast to dreams. And we don't necessarily have to quote it. We could say hold dreams tightly. Means the same thing. Remember, we got that down here. Hold on to your dreams. That's what they're telling us. Hold your dreams tightly. Don't let them go. So now that we have determined the main topic and the moral, we can look for the theme here. I'm going to read it. Actually, I'm not going to read it. You may read this poem to yourself and think about the theme. I am going to give you a whole silent, 45 seconds. Read through this poem and think about how you would write a theme statement. If you've got paper in front of you, even write it down. Go ahead. Alrighty, team members, for the theme, give myself a little more space over here. We need to decide what is the speaker of this poem trying to tell us about dreams. So when I look through all these things, I look through what the moral is telling me to do. I look through what the figurative language, what these metaphors are telling me. They're telling me that life is a broken-winged bird without dreams, and life is a barren field without dreams. So it seems like the theme of this poem is going to be having dreams is essential to part of life. Having dreams is essential part of life. Another way to state that would say having dreams is a necessary part of life. Basically, that word essential here is telling us you must have it. Life without dreams is going to be pretty bad. That is the theme, that's the idea here that the author is trying to communicate through this poem. So just remember, team members, as you are going out there and you're reading texts and you're determining themes, always look for that main topic. Look for a moral to help get you there, and make sure that you really are analyzing and looking for text evidence to support your themes. All right, guys? Those are some really big keys to help us get there. Keep up the good work. Miss you guys.